One of the biggest challenges when it comes to manifestation is believing that your dream reality already exists. The advice often given is that you need to embody the feeling of already having your desire, or become the version of you who is already living that dream life. But when your current circumstances feel miles away from your desires, it can be really hard to get into that state and to trust in the unseen. So how do we bridge that gap between where we currently are and where we want to be? Quantum physics might provide the answer and give you the ultimate faith you need that your dream reality already exists. My name's Georgia. I have a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology, and in my free time I love to research manifestation and the science behind shifting our reality. Now, manifestation isn't just woo-woo, it actually aligns surprisingly well with different areas of science, and one of those areas is quantum physics. Now, quantum physics basically tells us that reality isn't fixed, it's based on probabilities and possibilities. And in today's video, I'm going to explain one of the most mind-blowing implications of quantum physics that's going to allow you to trust that your dream reality already exists. So let's get straight into it. The first thing we need to understand is that at the quantum level, reality exists in a state of multiple possibilities. Now, to understand this, let's look at the classical world for a minute. This is the macro level that we exist at. So this is macro scale objects like ourselves, like this microphone. Basically, anything on the macro scale exists in a definite state. It has a defined location in space and time. So if we look at this microphone, for example, this microphone is in one place. It has a definite state, a definite location. It's one object, and it's very clear where the object exists in space and time. It's always in a single state. Now this makes complete sense. It's all we've ever experienced. However, quantum particles do not follow the same rules. At the quantum level, particles behave as if they're in multiple states at once. This is called quantum superposition. Now, a famous example of this is the double slit experiment, where quantum particles behave as if they've gone through both slits simultaneously. So basically, they behave as if they're in two locations at the same time. This obviously sounds absurd to us. If we think about this microphone again, how could this microphone be in two places at once? That would not make any sense. However, at the quantum level, that does make sense. Particles literally behave as if they are in multiple states at the same time. That is, until a measurement is taken. As soon as a measurement is taken, then that superposition of different states collapses and one state is chosen. So at that point, then the quantum particle takes on a definite state. But before that, before any measurement is taken or before the particle interacts with anything, it exists in a state of superposition, this weird, crazy state of being in multiple states at once. You might have heard of Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment that was developed to essentially demonstrate the weirdness of quantum superposition, especially when it comes to how it would translate to the macro scale. So what happened in this thought experiment is you have a box that has a cat inside, and also inside the box you have a radioactive atom, a Geiger counter, a hammer and a vial of poison. Now the idea in this setup is that if the Geiger counter detects any radiation from the radioactive atom decaying, then it triggers the hammer to break the vial of poison, which would kill the cat. Now the thing is, the radioactive atom is a quantum system, it's a quantum particle, and so it can exist in a state of quantum superposition when it's not being measured or observed. And so when nothing is measuring what's happening inside that box, then that radioactive atom can be in a superposition of decaying and not decaying at the same time. This means that it is both triggering the hammer to break the vial of poison and also not triggering the hammer to break the vial of poison at the same time, which means the cat will be both dead and alive at the same time. Of course, this sounds absolutely crazy. How could you have cats that are both dead and alive at the same time? And the reason this doesn't actually happen in real life is because of another process called quantum decoherence, which simply means that when a quantum system interacts with its environment, it causes the superposition to collapse. And so for that reason, we don't see dead and alive cats in real life. But this is some of the weirdness we have to grapple with when we accept quantum superposition. Though weird as it is, there have been many experiments done in quantum physics which do suggest that superposition is a real phenomenon. So it's almost like at the quantum level, reality isn't set until a measurement is taken or until that quantum particle interacts with something. Before a quantum particle is measured or interacted with in some way, then it exists in a state of quantum superposition. Basically, it behaves as if it's multiple states at once. It exists in a state of multiple possibilities. So at the quantum level, we could say that multiple versions of reality exist in potential form until one of them is collapsed into reality. And so who's to say there aren't also other possibilities of your life that also exist in potential form, just waiting for you to collapse one of them? Perhaps through manifestation techniques like visualization and embodying a future version of you, you actually collapse your desired reality into existence. Now, the next thing we need to understand is that it may go further than this. There may be alternate realities that exist in more than just potential form. So I already mentioned how measurement causes the superposition of possibilities to collapse into one state. In other words, it causes one possibility to be selected. However, no one understands why measurement has this effect or what's actually going on here, and so there are multiple different interpretations of what's happening here, and they are vastly different, but one of those interpretations suggests that one possibility isn't actually selected. Instead, upon measurement, all of the possibilities in the superposition branch into separate universes. So, in other words, every single possibility in the superposition becomes realized in a different parallel reality. So the idea is that all possibilities become literal. They are actual parallel realities that exist in separate universes. So these other versions of reality might exist in a very real sense. Your dream reality might literally exist in a parallel reality. And so if this is true, then manifestation might be about shifting into the version of you that is already living that reality. So this kind of links in with the idea of quantum jumping, that you can actually jump to a different timeline, a timeline in which you are living your dream life. So quantum physics is evidence that reality is much more flexible than we thought. One thing we know for sure is that at the quantum level, quantum particles or quantum systems behave as if they're in multiple possible states at the same time until one of those states is selected. And as we just discussed, it might go further than this, and these different possibilities might actually become realized in literal parallel realities. And so when you understand the quantum physics, it becomes much easier to get on board with the idea that your dream reality might already exist, either in potential form or in a very real sense. It's not necessarily something that you have to create. Instead, a more effective way to get into that dream life is simply to embody the version of you who is already living that life. And perhaps that is going to either collapse that reality into existence, which was already existing in potential form, or maybe that is going to shift you into that reality that already exists. Now, if you want to understand how I shifted it into my highest timeline in the most effortless way possible, then you can watch this video here. For now, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.